Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you and welcome to the latest in our series of Doha debates, coming to you from the Gulf state of Qatar and sponsored by the Qatar Foundation. The global financial crisis may be hitting hardest in Europe and America, but here in the Gulf states, profits have been slashed, jobs endangered, and major projects put on hold. In other words, there'll be a visible human cost, and plenty of questions about how the Arab states in this region will handle it. After all, some say that while building their shining new countries on the revenues of oil and gas, they cared little about the welfare of their workers. Others claim that with huge investment in education and health, they've given everyone a lifestyle beyond their wildest dreams. Well, what's the truth, and what will the states do now for their people? Our motion tonight is intended to get to the heart of the matter. This House believes that Gulf Arabs value profit over people, and our panellists, as ever, have strong and divergent views on the subject. Speaking for the motion, Najeeb Al-Nauimi, who served as Qatar's Justice Minister in the 90s and was lead counsel for Saddam Hussein. He's worked on numerous human rights cases and has represented detainees at Guantanamo Bay. With him, Mansoor Al-Jamri, co-founder of the Bahraini Al-Wasat newspaper and its editor-in-chief since 2002. Before launching the paper, he lived in the UK, where he was editor of the Islam 21 newsletter, which examined the concepts of Islam and democracy. Against the motion, Sheikh Mohamed bin Ahmed Althani, former Qatari Minister of Economy and Commerce, who played a central role in the development of the country's energy sector. And with him, Tarik Yousef, Dean of the Dubai School of Government. He's been active in some of the key international bodies, so much in the news at the moment, the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. Ladies and gentlemen, our panel. So now let me call first on Najeeb Al-Nauimi, please, to speak for the motion.
The profits is the aim of the states of the Gulf, and their aim particularly actually based on how they make more profit rather than looking into the citizenship affairs. I base my argument actually on a number of ideas. First one is poverty. It will be a bit strange to understand that we have a poverty in the state of Qatar, we have poverty in the Gulf. And if I would say, how can I select this one with evidence, I would say King Abdullah ibn Abdul Aziz was in front of the view of the people. After he seen really the poverty there, he said, I'll call upon the businessmen, I'll call upon the charity to support these poor people on their standard of life and to have them really in progress. He did not say that we, as a state, we will support them. He referred them to the private sector. It is very clear that he did not care much of really using the sources of the state, which is about 10 million barrels per day. Another thing, if you go to the Eid charity, you will find out that there is an increase of families in need, Qataris and non-Qataris, looking for a support to have them really out of this poverty. Reflection of poverty comes in the definition that we're not talking about Somalia, we're talking about Qatar and the Gulf. If Somalia is dying, we know they don't have money, but for people in the Gulf to have problems and not to have really suitable services, that is a big problem. Another point, actually, there are in the Gulf, in the Emirates, many people, have a problems not to have really a proper standards. In Kuwait, the stateless people who cannot have a citizenship. There are the inflation, in fact, versus the wages and the save of the Gulf citizens, which has not been really tackled by the state. You have to understand, labor are actually among the human beings who are serving in the Gulf. Laborers have been very much killed in a way where you have a lot of strike and demonstration, and we can elaborate over it later on. Thank you very much.
Dr. Najeeb Al-Nauimi, thank you very much indeed. You're talking about Gulf Arabs valuing profit over people in a year when the UAE, for instance, has announced that it's going to spend $10 billion on education. You're sitting in education, here in Qatar, where hundreds of thousands of dollars are spent per student in some of the most sophisticated campuses in the region, and you're saying that people aren't valued here?
No.
What could be better value?
No, I'm
what
sorry.
What could be better evidence of valuing people?
I am sorry. The people who have to come to this education, they have to pay money. they're not coming here for a free. If this is going to be a free, what we call it, the students to be enrolled in this educational system, that's
and
good.
If they're sent abroad, they receive stipends and their education bills are paid abroad.
Education, you see, the services in Qatar has supposed to be free education, free going to hospitals, free services of.
But you don't pay taxes. You have it pretty good here.
Well, I wish that we.
Do you want everything in life free?
I wish we.
You should come back to London with me if you think this is bad.
I wish we can pay tax, but I need against that tax a democracy. I can elect who I want to elect. I can ask who has to be really the prime minister. I will pay the tax, and that's normal.
But you can't say that money is not being invested in people. It's being invested in education. It's being invested in Qatar's future. That's undeniable.
Investment in education is different. You have private sectors and you have the public sector. The public sector being absolutely relinquished and being thrown out, and the services on the normal schools in Qatar is really a lower standard. You will find a crowded people sitting about 50 students in one room.
Your state pensions are higher in the West. You don't pay taxes. You don't pay for water or electricity as citizens, and you can fill up your petrol tanks for $10. You don't know how lucky you are.
No, you wouldn't imagine. We have poverty.
We'll come back to this.
There are poverty.
We'll come back to this subject.
On the Gulf.
Dr. Najeeb Al-Nauimi, thank you very much indeed. Now, please, can I ask Sheikh Mohamed bin Ahmed Althani to speak against the motion, please?
The Gulf states in the last 5 years only have spent $361 billion on health, education, and infrastructure. If we look at the health improvements on the life of the people of the Gulf, the life you measure it through the life expectancy at birth and the mortality rate. Life expectancy has improved from 55 years, 25 years ago, to almost from 55 years to 75 years, 76 years. The mortality rate has come down from 98 to almost 14. This is an equivalent to the mostly advanced, I would say, countries. On the education side, we have almost all, I would say, children in primary school today in the Gulf. If we look at the initiatives and what has happened in this area, look at us today from 1998, I would say the revolution that this country has led and its leadership, especially where we are sitting today. I mean, everybody here should look around and see how much money has been invested. Not only money, but ideas on how to bring the best quality of education and healthcare and social services to the people of this country. We in the Gulf have what we call the good neighbor effect. And the good neighbor effect is this has spread to Dubai, to the UAE, I would say from Oman today to Kuwait. We see vision to 2025, you see Qatar's vision to 2023, 2030, where we have a vision. The first pillar, 3 pillars of it are the social, the economic, the social, and the human capital, where the key issues here. We have a growing population in the Gulf, almost the highest in the world. We have 3.5% growth. We need to create 280,000 jobs a year. We have to have economic growth, and there is nothing wrong with a liberal economy that will give them.
Sheikh Mohamed, thank you very much indeed. Your good neighbor effect conspicuously seems to have left out the treatment of migrant workers who haven't benefited from this. It's nothing short of an international scandal, isn't it, the way they've been treated in this region? You'd admit that, wouldn't you?
I don't admit it at all. I disagree with it. I think...
So Human Rights Watch are wrong, the State Department are wrong, all the reports into this are absolutely wrong?
No, Tim. We have faulty, I would say, cases. But look at the commitment from the leadership down.